It all started one sunny Monday morning in the peaceful village of Umofia. People were going about their daily business, children rushing to school, momos frying akara by the roadside, and kiki drivers honking like their horns could solve all their problems. Suddenly, a new girl appeared at the village junction. She was light-skinned, beautiful, with wide hips, full bosom, and a soft face that glowed like morning dew. She wore a short red dress, high heels, and carried a large red book tucked under her arm. Everyone turned to look. Who was she? The girl smiled as she walked by, waving at strangers like she had known them all her life. "Good morning, Mama Ejike," she said, even though Mama Ejike swore she had never seen her before. She greeted Baba Is, the fruit seller, even the woman who always hissed at children playing. Some people found her sweet, others found her strange. But no one could deny one thing: this girl, whose name was Edeora, already knew too much. That evening, gossip flew like mosquitoes. Who is she? Where did she come from? How come she knows everyone's name? But Edeora just sat amid the chaos, smiling and writing things in her big red book. The next day, Edeora was back at the kiosk. This time she wore a green jumpsuit with a red scarf tied stylishly on her head. Her hips swayed as she walked, and the big book was still tucked under her arm. Children stared. Men gawked. Even old Papa Madu forgot to collect change from a customer. The village's queen of gossip sat by her plastic table under the mango tree. She wore her usual leggings, face cap, and big sunglasses, even though it wasn't sunny. She watched Edeora carefully and whispered, "Let me see who wants to take my crown in this village." Edeora walked up to her and smiled. "Good morning, Auntie Amoka. I like your slippers." Amoka was shocked. Nobody ever complimented her slippers. From that moment, the two became fast friends. They sat under the mango tree together every afternoon, drinking malt and talking about everything and everyone. But even as they laughed together, Amoka started to feel something strange. Edeora knew things, too many things. She even knew what Amoka dreamed about 2 nights ago. Later that week, the market square was full of noise. It wasn't from traders or buyers this time. It was from a loud argument. Mama Uduak had lost her favorite red bro from her backyard line. "God punish the thief," she shouted. It was new. Imported from Lagos. People gathered. Some laughed. Others shook their heads. Then Edeora, chewing groundnuts with Amoka, sat quietly. It wasn't stolen. Her neighbor's dog dragged it into the gutter. "It's behind the carpenter's shop." Everyone paused. "How did you know?" Mama Uduak asked, hands on hips. "I just guessed," Edeora replied with a smile. When they checked, the bro was exactly where Edeora said. People clapped and laughed. This girl is not just beautiful, she's useful. But Amoka didn't clap. She narrowed her eyes and leaned closer to Edeora. That was not guesswork, she thought. This girl is hiding something. The following afternoon, Edeora and Amoka sat at the Kiki Park where the drivers usually gather to play draft and shout at passengers. Edeora wore a short blue gown and large sunglasses. Amoka brought puff puff for both of them. "Did you hear what happened to Mr. Obina's wife?" Edeora said suddenly. "She cried all night because she caught him testing that dry cleaner woman." Amoka dropped her puff puff. "How did you know that one again?" she asked. Edeora giggled. "It's not my fault. I hear things." Amoka laughed too, but her mind was turning like palm oil in hot fire. That information wasn't even public yet. She only overheard it when she passed near Mr. Obino's fence earlier that day, and she didn't tell anyone. Later that evening, Amoka told herself, "Tomorrow, I will find out who this Edeora really is, even if it means following her home." Early the next morning, before the sun became too hot, Amoka dressed in her black buba and wrapper like a proper village investigator. She borrowed her cousin's small motorcycle and waited near the back of the old building where Eudora always disappeared to. At exactly 8:15 a.m., Eudora stepped out in a tight orange top and jeans, holding her red book and humming a sweet tune. She didn't walk on the road, she walked through the bush path beside the Anglican church. Amoka followed slowly, hiding behind trees and pretending to pluck leaves anytime someone passed. Eudora didn't stop walking until she reached an old, abandoned primary school building. She looked around, smiled, and walked through a wall. Yes. Through the wall. Amoka froze. Her eyes nearly fell out. Her hands shook. Wow. Wow. Did I just see that? Is this a Nollywood film? She ran back to the village. Her wrapper nearly fell off. Her heart beat like a talking drum. That night, she couldn't sleep. Eudora wasn't normal. She wasn't from here. And worst of all, she knew everything. Amoka locked all her doors and windows. She even put a Bible under her pillow and tied her head with 3 scarves. No spirits will catch me today, she whispered. But just as she was about to sleep, someone knocked on her door. Knock. 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 She jumped. She peeped through the curtain. It was Eudora. Eudora. At 9:30 p.m. She whispered, Eudora. Eudora smiled sweetly. I brought fried fish. You like it spicy, right? She held out a paper wrap that smelled delicious. Amoka was too scared to open the door, but also too hungry to ignore it. She slowly let her in. Eudora entered like nothing had happened. She sat down, crossed her legs, and began to talk. She told Amoka about the pastor's house girl who was secretly selling his palm oil, about the teacher who eats beans before school and blames the pipes for farting. She even said the village chairman once cried because his girlfriend left him for a plumber. Amoka pretended to laugh, but her mind was spinning. Is she reading minds? Or is it that book she carries? After Eudora left, Amoka picked up her phone and called her uncle, the town herbalist. The next morning, Eudora was back at the market, smiling and greeting everyone like usual. Her red book was in her hand as always. But this time, Amoka followed her, not with a motorcycle, but with questions. Eudora, what's inside that book you always carry? Eudora chuckled. It's just where I write my thoughts. Amoka pretended to smile. Can I read it? Eudora laughed harder. You want to see how I spell your name with love hearts? Amoka laughed too, but she knew Eudora was dodging the question. That afternoon, when Eudora went to buy roasted corn, she dropped the book on the chair by mistake. Quick as lightning, Amoka snatched it and flipped it open. Her eyes widened. The book was filled with people's names and secrets. Names of villagers. Their problems. Their dreams. Their lives. It even had a page that said, Amoka watches too much SeaWorld. Cries every night when alone. She slammed the book shut and returned it before Eudora noticed. One thing was now clear. That book wasn't just for writing. It was magic. She went straight to her uncle, Baba Iroko, the herbalist. She wore dark glasses and wrapped her head with a scarf to avoid being seen. She told him everything, the gossip, the wall walking, the book, and even the night visit. Baba Iroko rubbed his grey head slowly and nodded. That girl, she's not from this world. You mean, she's a spirit? Yes. And not just any spirit. She's a gossip spirit, sent to expose secrets and scatter people's peace. The more she talks, the stronger she gets. Then what should I do? Amoka asked. Don't confront her yet, Baba warned. Watch her. Spirits like that hide their weakness inside the thing they treasure most. Maybe her book or something else. Amoka nodded slowly. I will find it. I will stop her. But I need help. Baba Iroko handed her a small calabash with white powder. Sprinkle this near her when she speaks. If she chokes, she's not human. Amoka left, heart pounding. She was ready to face Edeora. But Edeora might already know by the next weekend, Edeora had become a local celebrity. People came from neighboring villages just to hear her talk. She sat at the kiosk with a cold malt, her red book beside her, and told stories that shocked everyone. She revealed the secret lover of the choir mistress. She exposed how the school principal once forged his certificate. She even whispered to a couple that their child wasn't theirs, and it turned out to be true. People clapped. They laughed. Some cried. Others got angry. But no one could stop listening. Amoka watched it all from the corner of the kiosk. She held the calabash in her handbag, waiting for the right time. "Talk, Edeora. Talk," she muttered. Then Edeora turned suddenly and looked straight at her. "Amoka, come closer," she said, still smiling. Amoka froze. "Why not sprinkle your powder now?" Edeora added, eyes twinkling. Amoka gasped. "She knows." Edeora leaned closer. "You want to stop me? You can't. Secrets are my food." Then Edeora stood up, still smiling, her red book tucked under her arm as always. "Let me tell you my story," she said to Amoka in front of everyone. She walked to the center of the market square and raised her hand. "I was once like you. Human. A woman who loved gist, gossip, and secrets. But one day I gossiped about the wrong person, a mad prophet. He cursed me. 'Since you love other people's stories more than your own, may you never stop speaking them.' And poof, I became this." People looked at each other in shock. Adeora's voice became louder. "Now, I can hear secrets. I live among humans, but I am not one of you. My mission, to expose, to scatter, and to remind people, what you hide always comes to light." Amoka's mouth fell open. Everyone around clapped in fear and confusion. Children ran away. One man fainted. But Edeora just smiled, her red book glowing in the sun. After Edeora revealed the truth about herself, everything changed. The village that once laughed and clapped now walked on eggshells. People whispered behind hands. Some even covered their faces when they saw her. But Edeora didn't stop. That day, she wore a red gown with matching slippers and sat under the almond tree, her book open on her lap. She smiled and called out, "Mama F, your son is the one stealing meat from your pot." Gasps filled the air. Mama F fainted. A fight broke out between neighbors. Husbands got slapped. Church members stopped sitting near each other. Secrets were falling like rain, and everyone was getting wet. Amoka had had enough. "This girl is not helping anyone. She's destroying us," she declared. She gathered 5 brave women, including the pastor's wife and the chief's daughter. "We will go to the shrine," she announced. "It's time to return Edeora to where she came from." At midnight, the women met behind the old town hall, holding white chalk, salt, and Baba Iroko's powder. They drew symbols on the ground and whispered prayers, mixed with gossip. Amoka explained, "Tomorrow we'll invite Edeora to the women's meeting. We'll pretend it's a thank you party. When she sits, we'll sprinkle the powder in a circle and chant her name backwards." The women nodded, though one of them whispered, "How do you pronounce Edeora backward?" Amoka blinked. Just say it 3 times, that should work." The next day, they cleaned the community center, decorated it with balloons, and cooked jollof rice with plenty meat. When Edeora arrived in her flowing gown, she laughed. "This is nice. Is it for me?" "Yes," Amoka smiled tightly. "It's to thank you for everything you've revealed." Edeora sat, crossed her legs, and began eating. The trap was ready. As Edeora chewed her meat, Amoka quickly sprinkled the white powder in a circle around her. The other women hid their hands and began to chant. Edeora. 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 Edeora raised an eyebrow. What's happening here? Reveal your true form. Amoka shouted. Suddenly, the ground shook slightly. The balloons popped. The rice bowl tipped over. Edeora stood up slowly, and her red book began to glow. So you think you can bind me, she said, her voice deeper now. Amoka stepped back. We are trying to free the village. Edeora vanished. Free it from what? From truth. In that moment, the powder reversed, flying into the air and covering the women instead. They began to speak secrets unwillingly. Who cheated? Who stole? Who lied? Even Amoka shouted, I once used my friend's perfume and blamed my sister. The room went silent. Everyone stared. Edeora picked up her book. Your secrets have weight. I only carry them. Then she walked out, hips swinging like nothing had happened. The next day, Umuofia was quiet. No more shouting. No more laughter. The women from the failed plan didn't come out. Children stared at their parents differently. Everyone now knew everyone's hidden truths. Edeora sat at her usual kiosk, wearing jeans and a white blouse. No one came to greet her. Even the beggar across the road avoided her. But Edeora didn't look sad. She looked peaceful. Now they know what it feels like, she whispered to her red book. Amoka stayed indoors for days. She didn't gossip. She didn't even comb her hair. But finally, she stepped out and walked to the kiosk. Edeora smiled. You're back. Amoka sighed. You're not just a gossip spirit. You're a mirror. Edeora nodded. I only tell what I see. But people hate mirrors when they don't like the reflection. Amoka sat beside her. Then let me learn from you. Maybe tell stories with care. Edeora handed her the red book. Weeks passed, and the village slowly returned to normal. But something was different. People were more honest, more careful with words. Fewer secrets. Fewer fights. Edeora still sat at the kiosk, but now she didn't speak. She just listened. Her red book stayed closed. One day, a small girl walked up to her. Auntie Edeora, why don't you talk again? Edeora smiled softly. Because the village finally started talking to itself. She became a town councillor, not for gossip, but to help people deal with their truths. She kept the red book on her shelf and opened it only when needed. And the beautiful spirit with big hips and a big book had changed Umuofia forever, not with fire or thunder, but with words. And from that day on, the people of Umuofia learned a simple lesson. Truth may be heavy, but hiding it is heavier.